Wanted to say a word or two about the Black Tarot. Art by Victoria Eva. Philip Young, PhD, making some contributions to the guidebook. This is perhaps my favorite non-Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and one that I use for a lot of my client readings. The only reason I haven't wholesale adopted it is because I'm slightly worried that a figure like this might get flagged for content on more restrictive platforms like Twitch. I doubt it would, but being new in this space, I'm taking a lot of really forward precautions. The second reason is this dreamy landscape is not always the most welcoming to the general public. Now, I love how this deck captures the essence of each card. And I adore how these cards show up on camera. I've actually had to lighten my video filters a little bit in order to get them to show up more completely for the review. But, and I apologize for these not being in order, but that's because I've been using this deck. No, I didn't review it right out the gate. It's just gorgeous and so deeply evocative. Like the Seven of Cups addressing the ephemeral and the illusory. This figure standing upon them and then disappearing really turns the focus of this deck inward versus the Rider-Waite, where it's a person looking at this sort of celestial shopping mall of things that might be enticing but unfulfilling. Here it pushes towards the fact that the person themselves is disintegrating when they're standing on impermanence. Just gorgeous. Just angles, Four of Wands being in Jacob's ladder, and each step of that being a window into its own domain. Maybe I'm getting too much from it, but even if I am, I think you see how well each of these cards becomes this sort of fractal window. And look long enough at anything and you'll see everything. And these do that very, very, very well. I don't know how that I'll flip through the entire deck here because being out of order, I don't know that you'll get that much out of it. It does, I believe they give normal and reversed meanings in here too. It is designed to be read reversed. My other small quibble with this deck was that the backs of them, bring this up to the camera so you can see it a little bit more, the pattern is not vertically symmetrical. So technically you can tell which way you're going to draw. I don't have the pattern memorized that well, but I imagine I will if I continue to read with this deck. Like Page of Wands. As far as an elemental fire beginning and young fire energy, can you get better? Maybe, but it'd be really difficult. Some of these are just, like this is the Chariot, which is shown here on this very liminal, endless field. Amazing. Feels like a dream you've always and never had. Some of these are also very graphic. It's hard to make out, but for the Hanged Man, you see just the smallest figure off the edge of this long precipice. Perhaps more potentially gruesome than the initial artwork, depending on how you take that. I've seen a lot of people comment that this is a great deck for shadow work. I think any deck will do shadow work. I don't know that I would pigeonhole it to there. I would, if you need something gentle, not necessarily recommend going after this sort of a motif. But I adore it personally. If it weren't for the worries of content flagging, then I probably would read with this way more extensively. That, and the other thing that I wish there was a more Thoth-oriented version of this that would switch the pages for princesses and use the Thoth ordering at the trumps. But I have my little quibbles with legitimately any deck that I read with, and eventually I'll probably just make my own. But as far as decks that I found on the market, I don't think you can get much better than this one. The black edges to the cards, the thickness of them, is perfect too. So if you're thinking about picking up one, definitely give it a go. It's by DeBry. It's mass market, so they're pretty approachably priced. See what you think.